Okay, hi guys, how are you? Welcome to our Monday night Team Aloha call. Super excited to have a guest speaker tonight. I don't really have any announcements other than the fact that, Core de Force is still doing amazing. So hopefully you guys have committed to the program and you are inviting people to come along and do it with you and taking part in our social media challenge within our team page, because it's not just going to create immediate results. It's going to create results next month and months and months and months to come, because Quarter Force is still going to be new. At the beginning of the year, it's only going to be a couple of months old, and they're not launching another program. So this is our program to really keep, putting out there and getting people interested. And when January rolls around and it's season for us again, all of those social media posts and all that consistency that you're putting into your business right now will be paying off, because January, everyone's going to start. If you're being consistent in your social media, ultimately, when January rolls around and people are looking for something like that, they're going to start coming out of the woodwork and reaching out to you. That's how it's been for me every year. It's like these months kind of slow down, and I'm like having a lot more conversations, a lot more no's, but still planting seeds. And then when January rolls around, all those seeds that you're planting right now, all those people that you're talking to are ready to go. And if you've been consistent with your journey and sharing your journey on social media, then they're going to trust you more, and you're going to have some credibility with them. And, when they're ready, they'll reach out to you. So I hope you're taking a part in that. I hope you've committed to Core de Force. If not, commit to it next month. There's still time. The launch is not over. It's still a brand new program. That's not really all I have to say. I've been doing it every day. I'm on day 20 today, and I definitely noticed a lot of increases in strength and cardiovascular endurance for sure. I'm able to, go longer in the spikes and do it faster. Workouts have not gotten easier for me. I've just gotten I push myself harder. I punch harder. I kick harder. I'm sweating like mad, which I don't really sweat that much. So definitely works your core and strength. I posted a video today with the Stinks Blasters from day one to now, and it's like night and day difference. I mean, so much strength in my upper body from this program. I'm noticing my booty is lifting from doing those kicks, like balancing kicks, and I like it. I really like it. I'm enjoying it a lot. So anyway, that's my spiel on that. We won't talk a lot about that because we have a guest speaker tonight, and Nikki has you guys have heard me talk about my Monday mastermind group, which is 6-star diamonds and above in my region. And it's run by Craig Collier, who's our corporate exec. And we just get a lot of ideas from each other. A lot of the ideas that you guys see me share are from someone in the group or from the wall. And so Nikki is one of my fellow mastermind group, and she is a 13-star diamond in her first business center, a 1-star diamond in her second business center. She's a 2-time elite coach, 2014, 2015. She's a Success Club 10 legend, an executive leader on the leadership ladder, and she was number 19 in 2015. And you went from Emerald to Elite in 1 year, right?
Yeah.
We went from Emerald to Elite in 1 year. So a lot different than my story. She grew a lot faster than me, and you can share whatever you want to share with your story. But I thought you had some history of, you were a blogger before you started, and so we'd love to hear about your story. And then she's going to talk to us about duplication, because that's something that I know our team struggles with. So thank you so much for being on the call and being willing to share.
You're welcome. Yeah, definitely we'll get into my story. Let me share my screen. I have a little PowerPoint. Let's see. Here we go. Okay. Can you see it? Yes? Okay. My story, this needs a lot of updating. These are old pictures, but when I found Beachbody, I actually was on my own weight loss journey. I had gotten laid off from my job at AOL about 2 weeks after I came back from maternity leave with my daughter. And I was suffering from postpartum depression And I decided that I was going to start my own business because I didn't want to go back to work. So I started blogging. I decided to become like a mommy blogger, and I started a cake business, which didn't help with my 50-pound weight gain that I had during my pregnancy. But I've always kind of been a serial entrepreneur. And the thing that I liked about working at AOL was that they were really flexible. And I, kind of felt like I had control a little bit of my job. But I could never really, like, I had done a true 9 to 5 one time, and it was terrible. But I just always had this like entrepreneurial spirit about me. And so I started just doing whatever I could to bring in money for me and my husband. And so that year we got married, and then we got pregnant again with our son. And I never really lost all of the baby weight that I had gained with my first child. So after I had my son, I had even more weight to lose. And I'd always grown up an athlete and been pretty active. And so having this extra weight was just really hard. And I never really, like when I was growing up, I always was playing sports. So I never really learned proper nutrition. It was just kind of like I could eat what I wanted, but I was playing so many sports that it didn't matter. So I had no knowledge of nutrition, and I just would spend hours in the gym. I would take my kids to the gym daycare, and I would go to the gym and just do the treadmill or the elliptical. I had no idea what I was doing. But I was so tired of being overweight. So I decided to hold myself accountable, and I started blogging, using my blog as like a platform to share my weight loss journey postpartum. And so what I would do is like every month I would do a postpartum update, and I would put a picture, like a before and after. I would share it on Facebook, and I would also share like what I was eating, what I was doing. So I had met this woman who taught me about portion control and like counting calories. So I was using MyFitnessPal, or actually I was using Lose It. And so I was recording all of my food, and I was doing workouts that I had found on Pinterest, like HIIT workouts specifically. So the weight was coming off pretty quickly because I had over 50 pounds to lose. So it was coming off pretty quickly, and it was really fueling me. It was making me want to keep going. And then of course I was getting a good response on social media. So about 6 months into that journey, we ended up moving because my husband, the company that my husband and I had both been working for, I was doing social media for them. They folded, and so we were like out of jobs again. So we moved to this small town that wasn't as expensive as where we were living. And I saw this flyer on the wall at the gym there. And it was a group of people getting together to do T25, and no one there was a coach. It was just like 5 people getting together and doing T25. So I started blogging about T25, and I really liked it. And I had no idea about Beachbody at all. I just was blogging about it. And so this guy that I went to high school with started commenting on all my pictures. And if you know anything about Facebook affinity, if you start commenting more on people's pictures, they start showing up, or you start showing up more in their newsfeed. So he started showing up more in my newsfeed because he was commenting on my pictures. And so I saw him post about how he had quit his graphic design job to become a Beachbody coach. And, that was really intriguing to me because I knew graphic designers made pretty good money. And my husband was not able to find a job. He was like going on 9 months of trying to find a job down where we had moved. And I was doing freelance, and, our money was just running out. We had to borrow money from our parents, and things were getting pretty dire. So I was intrigued, even though I was really kind of anti-network marketing. So I just decided to reach out to him and ask him for some more information. And, he said, basically, you're doing everything a Beachbody coach does. You're just not getting paid. And that was kind of the magic words for me. I was like, okay, well, and I was like, can I do it without Shakeology? Because I already have my own protein shake I drink. And he was like, well, let me send you some samples. So he sent me some samples, and I really liked it. So I just went to my husband, and I was like, just give me 90 days. Let's see like what we can do with this. And so he was reluctant, but he, believed in me. And so I signed up, and that very first month I hit Success Club 16. And it was just from there, I just went off of that momentum, and I just kind of became almost obsessed with the business. And I like to share that story because you know, I wasn't like a very successful blogger. I don't get a lot of people from my blog. I don't even really blog anymore. But because I had put in all of that work, like 6 months worth of work prior to signing up as a coach, I was able to hit the ground running right away. So some people come into this business, you know, where I was 6 months prior. So maybe you're just starting your journey, or, you know, you feel like you're just a newbie. And so people have to build that trust with you. It's not going to happen right away. And I had already built up that trust for that 6 months prior. So don't ever compare your story to anybody else's story, because you never know where anyone else has come from. So that's my story in a nutshell, but it really helped me gain a lot of momentum. And that's how I was really able to go from Emerald to Elite in a year, was just building off of that. So I signed up in October of 2013. And I hit Diamond in February of 2014, and I ended that year as Elite. But I worked a lot. I put in a lot of time. So that was my story. So the first thing I want you guys to do is take out a pen and paper, or maybe your phone or your computer, and I want you to write down 10 ideal coach characteristics. So if you could like pick your ideal coach, like the best coach you could ever pick, what would you choose as their characteristics? So like I have these are examples of mine: driven, coachable, funny, outgoing, confident, caring, positive, consistent, entrepreneur, and humble. Sorry, I'm like hot. I'm like 4 weeks away from giving birth to my third child, so like hot flashes and out of breath. So after you do that, and maybe it's, you know, you're going to need a little more time, but just for the sake of the call, put that to the side, and maybe you can come back to it later. But we're going to revisit that later down the line. Now, this is a customer coach avatar. So if you haven't created a customer coach avatar yet, then it's really, really, really important that you do this, because if you really want to be speaking to one particular person when you're posting on social media. Now, this is mine, Tara. I actually need to update her. I created this as a newer coach, and you really should probably create one every year. I just haven't recreated it yet. But basically, the person who you're talking to is usually who you were before you found Beachbody. So a lot of this stuff that I have written on here is totally me before Beachbody. So 32 years old, now I'm 34, married with a preschooler and a toddler or a baby. Now I have a kindergartner and a preschooler, and I'm pregnant. Working mom, college graduate, former athlete, goes to the gym on a regular basis for me time, but is not seeing the results she wants, has put on weight from having children and never lost the initial weight from her first child. So she's frustrated. She's tired all the time, has trouble with portion sizes and picking at her kids' food. She drinks wine a lot and doesn't think that's something she can give up. So if you like keep going, you can kind of see like these are all the things that I struggled with, and all the things that my ideal customer will struggle with, because I can relate to her. So when I'm talking on social media, when I'm putting out there, you know, anything of value or whatever, I'm thinking of her. I'm thinking, you know, is this something that she would relate to? Is this something that would give value to her? And so it's really funny when you do this, and when you start to, you know, see people coming to you, or people you're talking to, that they're so much like you. And it's, you know, if you look at people on my team, a lot of my top coaches, these are a lot of the same things that they were their fears or their struggles. So you really want to dig deep in this. You don't want to have like a superficial, you know, avatar. You want to really, really dig deep and think about, what is it that my ideal customer is really struggling with, and what are their really big fears and things that are going to hit them on an emotional level. A lot of people that do marketing, they have an exercise. There's like an island A and island B. And so it's like, what would it take for my ideal customer to get from island A to island B? And island B is obviously with you as their coach and in a challenge group. And so you have to think about in between, like what is going to add value to their life and what's going to make them commit to joining you. Okay, like attracts like. So after you have done that exercise, then you need to start thinking about your posts on social media. And it's really important that you are your real self. So I always suggest unfollowing any coaches. Like it's fun to kind of, get an idea of how coaches post when you're a new coach. But you don't want influence from other coaches because you want to be yourself. And sometimes if you're following too many coaches, not only are you comparing yourself to them, but you're not being your total real self. So this is just an example of some of my posts that I've done over the years. So I'm really silly. I try to add value with like recipes. So you can see in the bottom, like that's banana apple muffins that my kids like. And then I like have a Play-Doh recipe. So I'm always trying to think of like ways I can add value to other moms' lives. Stop worrying so much about what others are going to think about your posts and post with intention and from your heart. If you struggle with that, then personal development really helps. Don't overthink. And so many times we like think that we have this like amazing post and then we post it and get no response. But then there's the other post where you're just like, whatever, and you post it and you get so much response. So usually when you overthink, it's going to be a bomb post. It's going to just bomb. And don't be afraid to post your story over and over again. So, if you're consistently adding people to your network like you should be, then there's new people coming to your social media every single day that don't know your story. And so you should make sure that you post it a lot. Even if you feel like you're being redundant or you feel like everybody knows your story, they don't. You have new people on there. So make sure that you're really sharing that and you're getting vulnerable every week or every other week. It should be pretty often. And if you feel like your social media needs a second look, then ask your coach or your success partners for an audit. So I like to audit myself. I'll go through and I'll be like, okay, like today I was doing it. I need to do tonight I need to do like a post about my challenge group because I haven't posted about my challenge group in a while. And so you want to make sure that you at least have, somebody can go to your page and say that you have something to offer them. So make sure that you're always looking back over your social media and making sure that if you were a random person that just stumbled upon your social media page, that people would want to stay there. So just really make sure that it's you and that it's something that, somebody that your customer avatar would be attracted to. Okay, so let's get real. The 4 vital behaviors, are you doing them? So I know we all know the 4 vital behaviors, but sometimes we know them so well that we just kind of slack on them. And I'm guilty of that too. So I'm not just, preaching here. I'm talking to myself as well. Being a product of the product is so important. And like Marissa was saying, like Core to Force just came out. So like, are you doing it? I was trying it. I cannot do it right now in this state that I'm in. I can do the MMA parts, but I cannot do any of the dynamic workouts, even modified. I have a lot of pain. But also that's because I have a huge baby in my belly. But we need to be talking about the products at least. Are you drinking your Shakeology? Are you sharing that you're drinking your Shakeology? Are you sharing your progress? Even if you fall off the wagon, like I fall off the wagon a lot. That's one of the things that my ideal customer relates to is that they fall off the wagon a lot. And so I share that with my followers. I'm like, hey, like I fell off the wagon. Who wants to, get back on with me? Are you being salesy? So obviously we don't want to post our links. We don't want to just post. I see so many people just post about the challenge groups or the challenge pack specials. I'm like, no, you just want to be sharing. You just want to share your life and share your journey. And then it will naturally, come to fruition. And then are you teaching your coaches the right way to share? So if you have a new coach and you see them posting a salesy Facebook post, maybe you address that with them in a nice way. Of course, we don't want to hurt their feelings, but it's really important that we're duplicating and that we're sharing with our coaches how to share. So this was like I'm such a, this one speaks to me the most because this 21 Day Fix Extreme was like the first program that I actually finished from start to finish. And Country Heat was actually the second one that I finished from start to finish, and I was pregnant when I did that one. So I have to constantly remind myself to be a product of the product because I have a hard time staying accountable to my fitness. But I got really awesome results. I was really excited. Okay, personal development. So like I said before, when we're posting on social media and we're getting vulnerable, it's so important that we do personal development because that if you like I struggle so hard with sharing my story, and that's how you connect with people. And if you're not sharing your story, you're not connecting with people, then your business is failing. And so the only way that I can get over that, because I'm a people pleaser and I like to want everyone to like me, is I have to read books like Gifts of Imperfection by Brene Brown. That one's really helped me. She has so many great books. Her TED Talk is amazing. She talks about the power of vulnerability. You're a Badass is like one of my favorite ones to recommend new coaches and also challengers too. Just really about, I'm sure you guys have all read it, but it's just really about empowering yourself. And we have to be confident. If we're not confident, then people can feel that in you when you're talking to them, even if it's in the computer. Like if you don't believe in yourself, no one's going to believe in you, and they're not going to want to join you on this journey. It also helps you deal with different personalities. So when we're talking about duplicating, you have to make sure that you know the personalities of your coaches. So funny story, when I was pushing for, the year that my first year that I was pushing for Elite, I really wanted to go to the Star Diamond party at Summit. You had to be a 1-star, and I was a diamond. And so I was really pushing one of my coaches. She was kind of close, and I was just pushing and pushing and pushing, and she pushed back. She got mad at me, and she didn't, nothing that I offered. She didn't want any incentives. She didn't want anything. And I'm a total Ruby personality, if you guys know the gems. And she was a Pearl, which I didn't know because I didn't know the personalities yet. So obviously, what I was trying to motivate her with wasn't motivating her. And we really butted heads. And that was my first kind of wake-up call to this whole, there's people out there that are different than, not different, obviously I know people are different than me, but different personalities, and they're motivated differently. So easy to just be like, okay, well, I do it this way, and this is the way I think other people do it. Same with love languages. You have to make sure that you really know what. I always have my new coaches do the love language test because I want to know their love language, and I have them do the gem test because I want to know their gems. So personal development really helps you deal with that. It's also really helped me deal with my conversations. So I'm a little more patient. And I am a little bit easier to walk away when I'm kind of pissed off and then come back to things, whereas in the past I would have never done that. And if you aren't learning, you aren't growing, and this business is all about growing. And I can always also tell when my coaches aren't doing personal development, the way they react to things. If they're not hitting Success Club, usually if I ask them about personal development, they're not doing it. And I have so many coaches who will all of a sudden pick up their PD and their business just picks up. It is like hand in hand related to your business, PD, and how successful your business is going. Okay, inviting, aka connecting. So like I mentioned before, you should be adding people to your network. So this is a little glimpse into what I do. So I like to run free groups. Right now, since I've been pregnant, I've been doing a 5 days to a better pregnancy group. So I have all these cold market people that I run ads to who are pregnant. And what I do is I add them to lists. So if you go to their profile and you click on friend, so basically what I do is I get them all into a group, and then I have them friend request me. And that way I don't have to friend request them and risk getting it put in Facebook jail. So once they do that, I add them to another list. So you can click on the friends drop down and then add to another list. And then I put them in my free Prego group. And you can see here too, I have some other lists, my coaches, potential challengers, potential coaches. So I'll put people in different lists depending on, how I categorize them. And then when you log into Facebook, on the left-hand side of your screen, you can add them, you can add your list as kind of like, your favorites. And then when you click on that list, your whole newsfeed turns into just those people. So you can very quickly every day go to your list and start commenting on those people's pictures. And then that will obviously create better affinity so that you start showing up more in their newsfeed. And if you're list challenged, then that's kind of an easier way than creating a list. I do like to keep track of them. And also I do have an assistant, so she helps me with this. But basically, like, I put them in a spreadsheet, and I have her. So accepted means, because this is not just people from my groups. This is also people from my like page. So I have her, friend requesting people. So if they've accepted, she puts yes, and then add it to a list. And then CCQ, I got that from another coach. It stands for compliment, question. So what I'll do is I'll go to their Facebook page and I'll just comment on a picture, and within that comment I'll do a compliment and a question. So for example, like one of these girls, she had a picture of like her son who had a Ninja Turtle backpack, and I commented and I said, "Oh my gosh, I love your your son's Ninja Turtle backpack. My son loves the Ninja Turtles. Like, where did you get it?" So then, they have to respond. So you're kind of like starting this relationship, so they don't think you're just a weirdo. And then I'll do a couple more CCQs, and then I'll feel more comfortable sending an invite to my challenge group, because it's not just like friend request, invite. It's friend request, a few comments, a few like interactions, and then an invite. I am not the best with tracking though, so like I'm really behind on this spreadsheet. So this is another example of ways to connect every day. So this is an example of like a calendar alert that you can put in your phone. So that way, like whenever you have time, you can like have your alarm go off and say, reach out to someone and make their day. And then you would just go down your list or through your, the list that you create on Facebook and just make people's day. Just say something nice to them, especially right now in this time of chaos. People probably want something positive or need something positive. And then this is an example kind of an invite to coaching from somebody that I knew, or to somebody that I knew that I thought would be just a great coach. People like it when you compliment them. And if you think somebody would be a good coach, then tell them that and tell them why. And, it doesn't have to be weird. You can just say, no worries. I just could not ask you. And that's kind of what I did with her. I just was like, I would love to have you on my team. Okay, so who do you connect with? Okay, so friends of friends. Obviously, you've probably all done that. Another thing that I did was my husband and I did not go to high school or college together, so we have a lot of separate friends. So I went through his friends list and I friend requested all of the women that I thought, might be interested in a challenge group or coaching. And of course they accepted me because they're like, oh, that's Ben's wife. And so sometimes I still randomly have them message me, say, hey, we've never met before, but I went to high school with Ben and I saw your challenge group. I'm interested. So that's a good way. If you haven't done that, go to your significant other's friends list. Join groups. So when you're joining groups, you're not just joining to spam people. You want to add value and make friends. So think about things that you're interested in that have nothing to do with health and fitness. I have a friend who is really into dog training. So she joins dog training groups and she's just in there making friends and adding value and talking about dog training. And so when she goes to make that friend request, it's not weird. They're not like, who's this weirdo friend requesting me? They're like, oh, I know her. She, talked about this dog or whatever. So make sure when you're in those groups that you're really active in them and making people know who you are. Hashtags. Obviously, you guys all know hashtags on Instagram, especially. I'm still trying to, do Instagram. Facebook is my thing, so I kind of neglect Instagram. I post on it, but I'm not actively finding people over there. Facebook ads. That's my thing. I love Facebook ads. I can target my niche market so easily. And I just started doing Facebook ads probably, gosh, a year and a half or so ago. And I just started with a really small budget. And as my income grew, I just added more and more to my marketing budget. That's my marketing budget. It goes to Facebook ads. So don't be afraid to spend money on your business. I mean, it's all a business expense, a tax deduction. And it's just really it's really worth it. So, and I know, like, I had a coach the other day, we were talking about Teamzy. I just did the free trial. It's $30 a month. And she was like, I'm having a really hard time with the $30 a month thing. And I was like, well, one commission off a challenge pack is going to pay for your month. You're hitting Success Club every month and it's paying for itself. So you have to start thinking like a CEO and thinking like, this is your business, and the money that you put into your business is always going to come out of it. In the beginning, the Facebook ads, I had to like really figure it out. And I did lose money. I mean, I'm not going to say like every single ad I run is successful, even to this day, but that's just part of doing business. And then hosting free challenges, I think, is so important. Some people don't like to do them because they think, oh, you just attract people who want free shit. But like, I have found so many people that I've connected with and who have become like families to me from doing free challenges. Sometimes you just have to do them to build that trust with people. And recognition. So obviously we all know Success Club recognition. This is like a really good Success Club board. I wonder when that was from, because it doesn't look like that anymore. So Success Club, and then rank advancements, but also recognizing people for having like good posts on Facebook, or, you know, hitting their goal weight, or just little things that are going to make people feel good. You can recognize them for. And so I always tell my coaches, it's not about just Success Club or just volume or just rank advancement. It's about anything that's going to make someone feel good and feel recognized. So, you know, whatever you feel like, I just go, whenever I'm going through my Facebook and I see coaches who have really awesome posts, I always recognize them and I always share with the team, because I want them to know that they're doing a good job and that I see them. Okay, so now we're getting more into duplicating. So you've signed a coach, and so now what do you do? So get excited and welcome them to the team. So if you have a team page, which I'm sure you're in one, make sure you like make a cute picture and welcome them and say a little thing about them and how you know them. And then make sure you send them a welcome email. So when I created this, it was before First 30 came out, and First 30 is the new like onboarding system that Beachbody created. And it really is awesome. It really takes all of the work out of it. So you don't have to really even do a welcome email. Like this welcome email I have is like kind of long. So I honestly have switched to First 30, but it's basically going to tell them like, set up a call, you know, you're going to get on them on the phone for a GSR. It's going to send them a link already to the Getting Started Right document, or the Business Quick Start Guide, or whatever it's called. They're going to watch a video. I mean, it's really awesome. So if you haven't checked it out, definitely check it out in the back office. So that way, when you sign a coach, you know what they're getting. And then you want to get them in a new coach training. So maybe you have one, or your coach has one, or you can just send them to Coach Basics. The Coach Basics is really good too. It's kind of long, but honestly, like this business, if you have people that want to work, then they're going to do the work. So don't hold their hand. Like, you cannot hold their hand, because it's just going to take away from work that you need to do, because we have to always be out there finding new people. And if you're too busy helping all the time, like, you want to help a little bit, of course, but if you're always helping, then it's taking away from you finding new people and helping other people, right? So always think about that. Creating team culture is so important when it comes to duplication. So do you have your own team Facebook page? I like to tell my coaches to start one as soon as they have a few coaches, because even if it's quiet in their pages, at least they're practicing leadership, and they're starting to create their own culture as well. Are you hosting your own calls? So what I did as a new coach, when I just had a small team, We would just get on every week on Zoom, and we would go around and just talk about one win of the week, one struggle of the week, and one personal development takeaway of the week. And we got really close, and we just would do that every single week. It was so much fun until we got too big where we kept running out of time. So if you're not doing that, I really recommend it. And that kind of takes the pressure off you. You don't have to lead a call or find the speaker. It's just you and your coaches getting together and just chatting. Okay. Are you encouraging self-sufficiency rather than hand-holding? Like I said before, I'm like so big on this because I spent so much time dragging people. And it just is a waste of time. And now it's just so freeing to just be like, let it go. If they're not going to run or do what they said they wanted, it's your job as their coach to hold them accountable to what they told you they wanted. And if you do that and they're still not doing it, then there's nothing else that you can do. Like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. And then are you leading by example? So like all of the things we talked about, the vital behaviors, are you doing all of those things? Are you showing your coaches how to be a coach? So like I said before, the personalities, the gems, really important to figure out what your coaches are. And so it's not just gems. You could do personality plus or like the color code. There's so many different ways to figure out people's personalities. I just, for some reason, like the gems, and it just has really, really helped my business. Like I said, I'm a Ruby Sapphire. So that's why I built so fast too. I think it's just because I am totally motivated by like recognition and shiny objects. So of course I wanted all of the shiny objects. And then it's so funny too, because you can put this into use with your significant other. Like my husband is a total emerald. So, it helps to know what, he is motivated by. Okay, here is a reality checklist. So I compiled a few checklists that I found from other coaches. But it really is important. So if you feel like you're struggling in this business and you feel like you're just spinning your wheels and you're doing everything possible, to whip this out and just to be honest with yourself. Like, are you doing the vitals? Are you posting 3 to 5 times a day on social media? And if you are, like, are you being salesy or are you trying to sell other products? I've seen a lot of people like joining other MLMs, and that never helps. Can't chase 2 rabbits. Are you posting your link or stock images? People want to see you. Like, it's your reality show. They want to watch you. They don't want to watch a picture of autumn. Do you have a transformation? And if you do have a transformation, like, do you have a recent one? Or do you talk about other kinds of transformations? Like maybe, you've changed mentally because of your personal development, or maybe you were lonely and now you have like a sisterhood of coaches, and that's a transformation. It doesn't always have to be about fitness. Are you running monthly challenge groups? And if you're not running monthly challenge groups, are you at least, participating in them? Are you hitting Success Club every month? Are you joining team calls? Are you listening to the National Wake Up Call? Are you sharing your story and getting vulnerable? Have you finished a training? So I see a lot of coaches who join trainings for different, whatever it is, like Push to Diamond, and then they start it and they don't finish it. So make sure you're finishing those trainings. Are you engaged every single day, checking into your team page, checking in with coaches, checking with customers? You have to, this business is all about consistency. You have to check in every day. You can't just like skip 3 days and then work for hours on another day. Like, you have to be every single day consistent. Are you addressing your fears and stepping outside your comfort zone? Do you have a clear understanding of your story? Have you written out your goals and shared them? That's really important, because if you don't write them down and you don't share them, then they're not real. You can't just have them in your head. Are you tracking your business? Tracking is so important, and I'm not like a big tracker. I don't like it, but I do it because it helps me see like where I need to tweak, where I need to figure like things out. So, or it can help you with, if you feel like you're growing slow, you can look at your tracker and say, oh, well, I'm growing. I'm not, it might be growing slow, but at least it's going up, right? And then are you digging into your why? So sometimes our whys change, and my huge why when I was a new coach was to retire my husband from his corporate job. It was terrible. He was commuting like an hour each way, and he was leaving before the kids were up, and he was coming home when they were in bed, and it was just awful. And I just hated it, and he hated it, and his health was deteriorating. And like, that was my driving force. Like, I'm going to retire you. I'm going to retire you. And I would just push. And I did it in 18 months. I retired him in 18 months. And then I had to reevaluate what my why was, because I started flailing. I was like, well, what am I pushing for now? And so it's really important that if your why isn't very strong, if it's not pushing you to like plug in every single day, then you really need to reevaluate your why and dig into it, because that's really what's going to drive you forward. Okay. So take out that list that you had created, the 10 characteristics, and then next to those characteristics, I want you to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being you're terrible with that characteristic, and 10 being like, yes, you're really awesome at that characteristic. So this is kind of my my self-evaluation. Like, I'm super driven. I'm pretty coachable. I'm kind of funny. So you can kind of see, like, I rated myself to these characteristics. So basically the fact of the matter is that you will never attract a coach who is better than you. So if you want this awesome, amazing coach that's like all 10s, then you have to yourself be all 10s at that too. And that's just like the reality. If you do get a coach who is better than you, it's pretty rare and awesome. So if that has happened to you, then congratulations. But it's really, really important that when we sit down every single day to do our job, to work, that we think about duplicating and saying, if my coach did what I'm doing today, would that be enough? Would that be good enough? And so I think that's really important to remember that. And then also remember this very important thing that I want to leave you with: what we want for others doesn't work unless they want it for themselves. So just remember that you can't drag people. And sometimes people will, do everything and they'll be amazing, and then they'll disappear. And there's just nothing you can do about it. So as soon as you remember that, then it'll just be so much easier for you to go out and find more people who really do want it, and who show you that they want it. I think that's all I have. Yeah.
I love it. I'm in the dark because my light is off here.
I was like running out of breath. It's like hard to talk.
When are you due?
In 4 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. If I make it.
Does anybody have any questions? I know Stephanie's going to. No, nobody? I guess you're that good, Nikki.
I guess I'll ask a question. So I know that recently Beachbody in general has been focusing on just having people complete a challenge group versus, and then converting them to coaches. So is that what you did starting out? Like, obviously I know it takes a lot of work, but how did you grow so big so fast along with all of the work?
Yeah, almost all of them were from my challenge groups, because I was attracting people because of my transformation. So they were all coming from my challenge groups. And when my business started to falter last year was because I started recruiting for coaching, and those people did not stick around. So I was like, why did I ever get away from, I just was hungry for more coaches. And so this year I've gone back to the challenger to coach, because that's it's so important. And those people stick around a lot longer. But almost all my leaders are people who have come to me for help with their transformation.
Do you ever bring someone on that's like wanting to be a coach but then have them do as a customer first. Like they're interested in coaching and they're like, I really want to be a coach, and they're already kind of in good shape, but maybe they want to just tone or whatever. And then they just do a challenge group to get familiar with it.
Yeah, I always have them go through a challenge group first, but sometimes I think it's hard for them to focus on both. Like they'll be in a challenge group and then they want to do the coach training. And so it's a balance that I'm still trying to figure out, because I'm really not advertising for coaches anymore like I used to be. Because people just think I felt like when I was advertising for that, people were like, all they were thinking about was the money.
Yeah.
And they saw like the money that I was making. And so I just felt like it's never going to get you anywhere if that's what you're focused on. So I stopped advertising for just coaches. But if someone came to me because they wanted to be a coach, I'm not going to be like, no, you can't be a coach. But I would really emphasize, like the challenge group aspect of it. Then I actually started running my new coach training in the Challenge Tracker app, so that they have to log their Shakeology and their workouts along with doing the daily assignment for their for the coach training.
I kind of got away from doing trainings. I do a 7-day social media training to get them to learn how to start posting and clean up their page. And then I just have them do the challenge group. And then I just do I do check-ins with them and I see where they're at. And then we kind of have conversations via email and stuff.
Yeah. I think I've tried the self-paced thing. I don't know. I feel like.
Yeah, me too. I've tried everything.
Well, I feel like it's kind of like I said in the thing, if they want it bad enough, they're going to do it no matter what it is. They'll figure it out. Like my go-getters are always the ones that are like, put me in all the groups and I'm sending more stuff. There's never too many things. They want all of it. And that's how I was. But then I have ones who are like, can you put me in the new coach training again? Like they've been doing it 3 times now. And I'm just like, okay, well, do you want this or not? So I'm to the point where doesn't matter how you start them off. They're if they want it, they're going to get it.
Yeah.
So. But that's why I like the Coach Basics mine's a 30-day training, but I think Coach Basics goes into the Emerald training. It's longer.
Yeah.
But.
Because I spent so much of my time this year and last year revamping my trainings. Revamp, that I ended up driving all my coaches crazy because they're like, dude, she's just redoing trainings and putting out another training. And then someone kind of brought it to my attention and I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to do any more trainings. We're just doing a social media challenge within our team page. And I like it so much better. It's just because you're never going to have the perfect training. And like you said, my 3 levels up was you can't say the right thing to the wrong people or the wrong thing to the right people. The people that are going to do it are going to do it. And the people that aren't going to do it, no matter what you say and do, they're not going to do it.
That's so true.
So then for your trainings, how you're saying that it's at least 30 days, you do all that through the Challenge Tracker app? And then how do you transition? Are they posting to social media and things like that? And then after the 30 days, it's boom, and you do a coach announcement, or how does that work, I guess?
I have assignments within the 30 days of within the first week, I think they have to post about joining a challenge group. And so it's within the 30 days they're learning about how to post on social media. That's part of my training. They're learning about Success Club. They're learning about, all of the coach stuff, but also posting on social media and all that. And then at the end of 30 days, by then, they've hopefully gotten people in a challenge group. My challenge group, I always say, hey, you can be in my challenge group. They can do 2 challenge groups with me, and then they have to do their own. So, but usually after 30 days, they're ready to go. They're ready to, some of them have already hit Emerald within that time frame. It's hit Success Club. It just depends on the person.
All right. Well, it's 3 minutes to. Anybody else have a quick question? Okay. Well, thank you so much, Nikki. That was an awesome presentation. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Maybe we'll do it again another time. Like a year from now, we'll do call exchanges again. We'll be in a different place in our businesses.
Yes, I think this is my last call I'm doing until next year.
Yeah, I actually was supposed to do a call for someone tonight, but she never messaged me to see if I was still on for it. So I was okay. I was like, hey, if she's not gonna reach out to me, I'm not gonna. I mean, Joan Crocker. I don't know. She was on the Super Saturday video this round. Like I had it written in my planner that I was doing her call tonight, but she never reached out. So I was like, all right,
Well,
I'm not gonna reach out.